Good evening, everyone in YouTube land. Bit of a late one with Budgie and early doors. Chelsea over the weekend. Let's go. Well, mate, I forgot I didn't have to double click it. Just the one click will do. Never mind. Right. Good evening, all. How are you all doing?
All good, mate. All good.
How you doing,
I'm,
Budge Meister?
I'm doing really, really well, as you will know.
Yes, sir.
So, right, okay. Just,
Happy. How you doing, mate?
I'm so good because on Tuesday I got the all clear after my prostate cancer.
Hey, come on, have a
So,
go if you think you're hard enough.
you know, I mean, second time round, second time beating it, cancer, slingerhook.
Are you sure you're not turning into John Wayne? Right, because didn't John Wayne kick Death's ass
I feel
like
I feel like I walk like him. I swear to God, I feel like him.
proper John Wayne up in the building? Happy has the
Yeah,
heart
you
for
know.
Budgie? Cool, you know that. DJ Crane,
Oh,
in the building. I have to say that's the best. I think we
Big
should
up
just leave the
DJ.
stream there. Just like have
That's
the
it,
good
done.
news, Happy's
Done.
hearts, and that's it. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Right now, lads.
Oh,
Here you go.
I
It's like,
can't get that high.
I was saying, yeah, no, the only reason why I'm doing it is because my missus squeezes me balls tight enough at the right point. It's just like,
Now, come
so
on
like
now.
Michael Jackson.
Come on now. Us
BVB
single
David.
fellas, we don't need to hear that.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I apologize.
Good
Well, John
evening,
Wayne,
David.
you got
Good
that
evening,
stardom.
David.
Yeah, you got the John Wayne stardom, no? Can't beat Budgie, hands down. You're damn straight, mate. He kills more bad guys than John Wayne. This guy.
Oh, yes, man.
Tony, Tone.
Big up
Yep.
DJ.
We got the triple Tony in the building. Right, gentlemen, there is a London derby over the weekend. I wonder who of you guys know if you're playing. The one and the only Chelsea Pants, or whatever you guys will probably know us as at the moment. Give us the take,
No.
and
No,
I'll
come
ask.
on. You're not that rude now, Simon. Come on.
No, you're not that rude. I'm just being realistic with how crap my team is, because
Well,
we are quite bad.
We kindly and lovingly refer to you guys as the Rent Boys.
Oh no, Happy just beat you to it. Look, she just beat you to it. Well done, Haps.
Bless you. Oh, mate. Great things mind alike and all that,
Well, that explains Happy, so explain yourself.
I have no explanation for me, mate. I'm sorry.
Nah, he's a great mind. He's got a better mind than mine, definitely. But yeah, do me a favor, and I'll start off obviously with Budgie because you just said it. Tell me how you're feeling towards the match, sir, and I'll switch over to Tony.
Let's not hark too much on the home match for us at the London Stadium when we beat you 3-1. That was because Chelsea were unstable with a lot of signings, young guys, new manager, kind of a rebuild, and Chelsea were unstable at the time.
Nothing much has changed, Budge.
It's got slightly better as the season's gone on, to be fair with you.
Yeah, there's little bits and bobs.
And, your result the other night was a quality result. Do not underestimate that.
Against Spurs?
Tottenham are a team that are, yesterday was it? Last night?
Yes. 2-0.
Tottenham are a team that are on the up. Believe me. They've got probably one of the best up-and-coming managers in the world right now in Postecoglou. Trust me, he is exceptional. He just needs his own players around him. So, all I'm saying is let's all beware of Tottenham in the future.
Evening, James.
Good evening, James. Thank you for joining, mate.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, Postecoglou has got them firing on 7 of the 8 cylinders, let's say. Right. Now, Mauricio Pochettino is a manager that we all know. Yes, he was at Tottenham. so he will know a little bit about the structure of the club, but not necessarily the team as is right now. He may know a few of the players, but that's irrelevant. There's a completely new set of players at Tottenham. And he went out there, and the players went out there with full confidence and beat them convincingly 2-0. Fair play to Chelsea. That does not mean that we're going to go out there and do the same to you guys, or you're going to go and do the same. I think it's going to be a very, very tough game because Chelsea are now beginning to find a little bit of form, and West Ham have started to lose form. So I think, if you've got scales, they're kind of evening up a little bit because, there's a lot of disharmony in West Ham right now. We don't know who our manager's going to be after the close of the season.
Mm-hmm.
We've got certain people that are in line for replacement of our manager, David Moyes, should he leave. And I would say 70% of the West Ham fan base that I've been in contact with are not very happy with the choices that are on offer. So it could be a very turbulent season for us next season. We just don't know what's going to happen. But the game on Sunday, I think both teams are going to come out with a little bit of trepidation. But I think we'll both be happy with a draw.
Tony, what's your thoughts on that?
In certain respects, I do agree on that. I mean, UF found a little bit of form, but at the same point, it still seems to be uneven. I mean, look at the question they asked Poch last night, and even then, it was a kind of cryptic answer. So I don't think things are happy there. Just like with us with Moyes at the moment. I mean, obviously hearing today that Lopetegui's kind of onto the second stage. Who actually wants Floppy Loppy? He's onto the second stage of his interview, and it seems like he's still favoured to be the replacement for Moyes, which, as you know, most people are kind of definitely saying no to. But that's Sullivan for you. He'll go against the grain just to cut his nose off, basically, spite his face. But the game itself, I think, I mean, Budgie's right. We're not been looking good over the last couple of games that we've been playing. So our record against you guys, we have a fair share of results over you. But I think an even Stevens is probably going to be, no doubt the best result for both of us.
Well, I was just going to say, over this season, when it comes to Spurs, Arsenal, and Chelsea, you beaten us at your ground. You've beaten Arsenal at your ground. Did you beat Spurs at your place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not a joke. And Moisey's one of those ones where he can set it up where, all right, I'm not too sure how the feeling is in the West Ham camp about Moisey, but he's one of those ones where he knows how to make a team that will cause you problems. So the only thing I will say is, from a Chelsea perspective, if it's one of those ones where Chelsea tend to start slowly, and if we start slowly against you, we're going to get it. Because one thing I will say is that Bowen is having a great season for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, and I'm not being funny. Normally, I would say because we're at home, I wouldn't worry about it. But being away seems to be his strong point. So, because didn't he score like 8 away games in a row for you guys?
Something like that, somewhere around there.
It was something ridiculous.
The thing is, also, just like to point out that Mohamed Kudus is very, very well in form right now, and Mikel Antonio's got a great record against Chelsea. And I know quite a few Chelsea fans, and most of them have more fear, if you want to put it that way, for Mikel Antonio than most of the other players in our squad.
Well, he scores against us all the time. I don't know how.
That's what I'm saying. He really enjoys it. It's kind of like Callum Wilson is with West Ham. No matter who he's playing for, if he's playing against West Ham, he'll score. And Mikel Antonio is a little bit like that with Chelsea. He'll either get a goal or a really good assist, you know. And he does trouble defences. And unfortunately, your defence still isn't, a unit. They're good individual players, but they're not a unit. And if you haven't got the old fella, what's his name? I can't remember his name now.
Thiago Silva.
Yeah, that's the fella. Oh yeah, that's him. Yeah. If you haven't got him starting on Sunday, I think your defence are going to struggle from the outset, especially if we play like we did in the first half of our last European game against
Yeah, but you guys were on it. Yeah, you guys
Leverkusen.
were on it.
For that first 45 minutes, mate, I don't even think Man City would have been able to contain us. And I know that's a big statement, but we were, as you said, on it, you know. And if we're on it on Sunday, I think Chelsea might be in trouble. But
Well, this is my fear.
I'm still thinking that a draw is probably going to be a fair result.
Well, you both adamant it's going to be draws.
Not adamant, but you know, that's that gut feeling. You know that gut feeling you get. I just kind of feel that, you know.
Normally means I had a curry the night before, mate. When I get that gut feeling, I'm sorry. Like, when I get that, it's to the bog. You know what I mean? Oh, Rosie's in the chat. Happy Hammerette. Hope you're well, Mrs. Wolfie.
Rosie.
Here you go, Katie. Rosie says, hope you're well. Happy Hammerette says, hey Rosie, fine, and Daddy, thanks. Hope you're doing well. BVB David says, yep, Xavi Alonso made a subs a bit to adjust for the match for Bayern Leverkusen after West Ham's first half. Yes, he did, and because there was I honestly felt for West Ham that game against Bayern, because I'm not being funny. They did do enough to get more than what they got. I think they should have. On another day, they might have won that game, but
but you got to remember in the away leg, we did all to deserve a win. Nothing to deserve a win.
Happy says,
were absolute dog mess.
Well, that seems to be the thing with you guys. Away seems to be your Achilles heel. That's the thing. That's the only thing that gives me confidence. Because at home, you guys have always been hard to beat.
But only in this calendar year. Last year, in 2023, I think you'll find that in our away games, it was something like 60+%. You know, that in 60+% of our games away last season, I think you'll find we got points. I'm pretty sure it was 60+% I saw. You know, last calendar year.
So you think this year it's all swapped around? You've become more at home but poorer away. Is that the problem?
No, we've become poor.
Just poor.
I think we've had, 3 wins this calendar year, Tony?
Yeah, that's exactly what Happy said. Yeah. This calendar year, Budgie, we've won merely 3
wins. That's pathetic for a team aspiring to get into Europe again. Pathetic.
Well, that's what I was just about to come on to, because we're in a race with you guys to get into Europe now.
Of course,
with Man United, I think they will. I think Spurs will comfortably get 5th, because even if they just win 1 or 2 more games, but they're so far in front of us, Man United, Newcastle, except yourselves. Because I know we've got 1 more game in hand on you. Have we overtaken you guys yet?
Yeah, you're overtaking us.
Yeah, you're in front of us. Yeah,
we're 8th, and you guys are now 9th, right?
9th,
yeah.
And
how many games? You guys are on 35, right? 35 games.
Yeah, we've got 3 games left. Yeah.
Who's the other 2 games against?
So you got Luton next.
Luton and Man City on the final day.
well, can I ask, right? And I want to ask this as well. How far do you reckon? Because I know if Moisey manages to get Europe again, does that justify him keeping his job for you guys, or is he still? Well, because I haven't asked you individually. I know the fan base, majority of him don't like him, but I'm going to ask you, and I'll start with Tony. Like, how is your feeling about Moisey if he gets you European football again?
I mean, if he gets you European football again, that's 4 years now in Europe. So when you look at that, I mean, that in itself it should, in certain respects, be justifiable. You know, when you think
it's historic for our club.
Exactly.
That's consistency, isn't it?
Consistency,
That
yeah.
is
I mean,
consistency.
when you think, a semi-final, a final win in the cup, and then also in the quarterfinals this year. And if you look at the Leverkusen, going back, we said about the Leverkusen game, he set up it wrong in the first leg. The second leg, in the first half, if we had a decent striker, we should have won that game comfortably in the first half of the second leg. But if he gets us into Europe this year, then the problem is we've got, and Budige alluded to this as well. There's no transparency at the moment. What's going on? Is he 1 minute there's a contract on the table, then there's not on the table. It's a case of they're not happy with the way the things are. The fan base are kind of are divided. More stability for sure, but this is the problem. I think this is the truth, and she's hit it on the head there. That's the problem in certain games. I know when we played Brighton at home, Jesus Christ! I mean, I did a watch along on that. I fell asleep. I think.
Well,
and it was only Areola that kind of kept us in it.
Well, can I ask you a question on that basis, right? On the pragmatic approach, because that's what Happy's referring to. Moyes' pragmatic approach. Now, when you see teams like City who play pragmatically as well, even though they supposedly got superior footballers, etc., etc., do you think you guys need that for the consistency, where you can be dirty and still win, or do you think there's a problem in his style? And if so, and I'll start with Budige, what is the problem with Moyes' style? Why do you guys think it's that bad?
Well, to start with, there's too much emphasis on defence. I mean, don't get me wrong, defence is the best form of attack, right? But when we're talking about 9 players behind the ball, it's kind of frustrating because then there's no room for individual brilliance, if you get my meaning. When we played the final of the Conference League against Fiorentina, we were in the first half. We were too compact, in my opinion. 1 second. Sorry, I just had to tell them to piss off.
Was that God? Fuck off! It's not my time yet. Piss off.
No, it was my nephew. So when we played against Fiorentina, I felt we were too compact in the first half, and we did give ourselves a little bit more space in the second half, which was how Paquetá was able to express himself with that pass. Bowen ran onto it, etc. The rest is history, right? This season, we seem to be doing that in the first half more often than not. We seem to be more expansive in the first half and then shutting down in the second half. Now, I remember when Chelsea fans used to complain a lot about Mourinho parking the bus in the second half. I remember that distinctly. And we kind of parked the bus a lot earlier than you guys did under Mourinho. And this is why a lot of West Ham fans are disenchanted with the way we're playing. That's why we want a change. It doesn't matter if it is another defensive manager, as long as his output and his approach to the game is just a little more expansive, gives more players a chance to express themselves. Like you said, Jared Bowen has probably been the most impressive player at West Ham for an outsider's point of view, because he's getting goals and assists. Because everybody in the team on the day know that Jared Bowen can produce something. They also know that Kudus can. But unfortunately, or fortunately for West Ham, a lot of people are kind of like noticing Bowen more than Kudus. And Bowen's less likely
Scoring more goals, that's why.
Yeah, but he's less likely to leave as well than any other player in the club, in my opinion. But I think the main thing about the way we're playing right now, I think you'll see in the players, in the movement, in the way they're approaching the game. They don't like the way we're playing at the moment either. There are a lot of players that are they're close, very, very close to speaking out about it. You can tell. You can see the mood in the club. Am I wrong, Tony?
I don't think you are, but because it proves the way this second half of the season's gone.
Yeah.
I think there is some unsettlement somewhere along the line because considering how we were playing in the first half of the season to this half, it's chalk and cheese, and it's quite evident. That's the worst part about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say this: I've not been funny. When I was growing up in the 90s, I went to a lot of West Ham games. There's no way in a single calendar year winning only 3 games, and you're almost in May. There would have been effing riots back in Upton Park back in the day. And I've even seen 1 or 2. So yeah, like it is unusual, and it's weird because Moisey, I think it's a testament to the kind of season everyone else is having as well. Can you imagine that, guys? You guys have won 3 games this calendar year, but you're still in the race for Europe.
Yeah, but we're only just in it by the skin of our teeth, though. That's the problem for us.
You could argue most are, Budgie. You're only in it by the even us. Like, you know what I mean? We've been winging it for a long time.
The thing is, though, Wolfie, you know, we should have been really, if we was on form, because I think before we had downfall from where we are now, we was 5th. And if our form was consistent, then we could be pushing on for 4th, not being funny. And no disrespect to other clubs, but we should have been pushing on for 4th. But, I
mean, when you consider the quality of some of the players that we've got, like Bowen, like Kudus, like Paqueta, like Edson Alvarez, like
Champions League team,
Mavropanos, our goalkeeper, Areola, undoubtedly has been one of the heroes in goal throughout the Premiership this season. He's been incredible, honestly. He's been incredible. I wouldn't mind betting, okay, he's never going to get the Golden Glove because so many goals have gone past this season. But, you know, if you were to put like a poll out there for a goalkeeper that's kept their team in the game more often than anyone else has on the pitch, then I would imagine Areola would probably be in the top 3.
Yeah, Petrovic would be behind him though somewhere because he saved us so many times this year.
Behind him, see, even you say behind him, you know. So, you know, like to be fair, we've got a handful of really exceptional players, and with those and the players that we've got that are good at their job, like the likes of Thomas Socek, Vladimir Sufal. Emerson's exceptional as well, by the way.
I like him. I was actually regretting that when we saw because one thing about it, he's got quality on that left foot, and he could be dangerous, and he can bomb up and down all day long for a dog biscuit.
Let me tell you something about Emerson. Right, when he first came to West Ham, I would say a good percentage of players will go in another Chelsea reject.
Right. Arsenal fans are saying the same about Kai Havertz, but now he's King Kai. I like that.
Yeah. But now you're probably looking at 80% of them are going, well, he's in the shout for Hammer of the Year this year. You know, because he has been exceptional. And I'm not overestimating or underestimating it. He has been exceptional. And, you know, and his link-up play with Paqueta when he's been on song has been beautiful to watch, but that has died off a little bit because Paqueta's game has died off because his eyes are diverted elsewhere.
Can I ask a question? How did he go from being a central midfielder and to getting pushed out wide?
Because he's got a natural left foot,
and that's how Moisey uses him, like just pushes him out wider. Okay. Because I found that a bit weird, but we found out what that tapping was, by the way. It turns out it was Anthony on his tractor rolling past, saying hello to Budgie. Big up, Anthony. Well, on
I
that,
am.
sorry, but you. Oh, sorry, was you just saying hi? Okay, no.
Yeah.
Well, on that, Tony, right? Where do you feel? If it's Moisey himself or a manager change, but how do you guys get the best out of those creative players? Because I'm not being funny. One thing I will say, we have similar problems. Is like with you guys, we can't use our creative creators properly because sometimes the defensive base behind them is always like this. Sometimes it's extremely good, sometimes it's extremely bad. It depends what you get week in, week out. It's different. So for me, let me ask you, what do you feel needs to be done in terms of to get the balance correct?
Well, Buddy's already alluded to it in that. Definitely a stronger defence. You know, a younger, fitter defence more than anything else, because that's where we're,
Well,
you know, we're lacking.
Actually, bionic legs for Zuma would be perfect.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, Zuma is probably one of the best defenders we've had in recent years. He's just not very mobile.
And
No, he's
that's
not.
the problem.
He's a lump. He's a proper lump. He's good in the air though.
Yeah.
Well, all we don't
Yeah.
want to see though, Budgie, we don't want to see another Phil Parks now. Keep injecting with cortisone just to keep them going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I mean, Zuma looks like he's got elephant's knees. They should be going backwards.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But defensively, he's quality. I mean, he's like you said, he's good in the air. He can get a tackle in if he's close enough. It's just he has to be close enough because he's got no speed about him.
Yeah, because if a player turns him and legs it, there's
gone.
no way he's catching the air. There's no way.
And on that right hand side, if he plays on that right hand side, Soufal isn't quick enough to help him out. If he plays in the left centre, then he has to have Emerson next to him because Emerson has got that turn of speed to be able to help him out, and he's got a brain that works quickly enough. You know, if he's got Creswell next to him, kind of forget it. I mean, I think we leak more goals when he's either partnering on the right with Soufal or on the left. I wouldn't mind betting that's actually a stat. Yeah, because you've got to have somebody with a little bit of pace with Zuma on that side.
Well,
Ben
yeah,
Johnson and him seem to work really well. Yeah.
So do you think that's what do you think what the case is getting, like Tony was saying about maybe you just need a better defense, or is it more getting the balance between the types of players you've got?
Well, I think it's a bit of both, to be fair with you, mate. I mean, look, we've had a bit of good news today in that Mavropanos should be back for Sunday. And that's our big, tall Greek central defender. He's pretty good at defence. Not great at passing, but he ain't, he's not the worst. But in defence, I trust him more than I do Zuma right now. He can play the high line, and he can break forward. And if we've got like a corner or a free kick and you put him in the box, he's a threat. Even just for a knockdown for someone to tap it in, like Bowen or whatever. So I think if we get Mavropanos back for the weekend, I think that's a positive for us.
Well, how sure are you guys about the fitness levels of certain players? Because I think we're expecting Gusto to come back because obviously he didn't play against Spurs last night. We had little Alfie Gilchrist on the pitch. Good old Alfie. But yeah, we managed to beat them to 2-0. But one thing I will say, West Ham physically are going to be a lot greater threat than what Spurs were. Because I'm not being funny, Spurs, because they try to play like high intensity football. If they lean off you for just a second, it's like they're not there. But you guys are more dug in, more rugged, more in the trenches sort of thing. Like you guys said, it's more scrappy and it's harder to break down. But well, on that note then, so you guys have spoken about your own team. Give me your thoughts on and I'll start with Tony, on the Chelsea team right now. What worries you about us? and I'll have my little chip in a minute. No rush, you've got all night.
It's looking through that, mate, and you look at it and you think to yourself, you just wonder sometimes what style you're playing. Big up Del Boy. Good to see you. What's the bleeding story?
We're explaining it. Listen.
It's where you start really, because attacking wise, you look at. I mean, like looking against Spurs and the game previously, you've got a bit more of an attacking flair about you now, whereas before you didn't. Mudryk, I don't know what's going on with that one. I really don't. And even Jackson. And dare to say it, I mean, obviously, like as you know, most people have been saying it's all about Cole Palmer FC rather than Chelsea FC.
Big up, Taib. Yeah, I hear you.
You know what I mean? It's one of those. But Gallagher, yeah, he offers something. But really, you look at everything else across that Chelsea team, and it just seems to me a complete mess.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Because one thing I will say, the structure. One thing that's okay. Maybe you can relate a bit with Moisey, because of with us. I think the problem with Chelsea is because we change personnel so much. There's no rhythm to our football.
No,
so it's like every week you're asking a different 11 to play to each other. Because that's the one thing I will say, as someone who's done a little bit of coaching myself, it's the one thing I really hate. You need to, if you're going to try and build a team, you need to get the 11 together, then let them play. Yeah, let the familiarity grow. Okay, my buddy, he likes to go up, but maybe you leave space behind him. Maybe I need to tuck inside on the left-hand side a bit more. When he comes back, he might have the recovery pace to help me. Blah, 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 blah. You learn, innit? You go, as you go, you learn. Yeah. But one thing I will say I have kind of I liked about it is, despite the fact that we've been absolutely shocking in the league, and I mean just disgusting, in the cup competitions, they seem to, and this is quite weird, we seem to be very strong in the cup competitions, just very pants in the league, because we got to the semis of the FA Cup, we got to the final of the Carabao Cup. Why is it we're so strong in the cups? Maybe because there's less pressure or there's less amount of games to play.
I think you should ask David Moyes that question, because that was us last season.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, hang on, go on. What do you mean that was you last season? Go on, Budgie, explain that.
Well, we finished, what was it, 14th? 14th in the league last season. We were fighting relegation for about 9 games in a row. And we won a trophy in Europe.
Did that cover the cracks, though? Is that what it was? That papered over
basically what it did. Yeah, it papered over the cracks. Yeah, definitely. We had an absolute meltdown in the league. We were losing to teams that we should not have been losing to, you know. And to be fair, we managed to pull it out of the bag at the last minute. I think it was the last 3 games, wasn't it, Tony? When we get wins, 2 wins in a row and then a draw, put us into 14th, and then we got a win on the final day. No, we got a draw on the final day.
Evening, Miss Melina.
Yeah, and evening. So we managed to kind of pull it out of the bag at the last minute, because we knew that we had qualified for the semi-final of the Europa Conference League, and it was a reasonably easy game for us. To be fair, it wasn't the worst game in the world for us, because we'd beaten better teams on the way to it. So we knew that we were confident we had the semi-final in the bag, you know. And then we went into a little bit of a run in the league, managed to get ourselves from 17th or whatever it was to 14th or 13th, 14th I think it was, and we kind of stayed there for the last 2 games of the season, and that was kind of digging in and all that, but it was also a lot of luck in that, because there were a few other games where the results went in our favour. So, you know, this season we've been a lot more steady in the league, and we've got to a semi-final of Europa League, which is a quarter-final, which is, you know, reasonably good. It's not the best, but it's reasonably good. I think that the Europa League is slightly too, you know, kind of
high
far
level.
out of reach, a little bit out of our reach because of our recruitment program or lack of, you know.
What about you, Tony? What do you think needs to happen?
I think if you look at it, I mean, like, you know, in certain respects, what Budgie said there, I don't think it was lacking so much Budgie. I think it was more tactics than anything else, and that's where Moyes got it wrong in the last couple of games, and that's before the Leverkusen game. We managed to, you know, get through into the next round, you know, into the quarters because of it, but the cracks were appearing then. This is where he was losing his edge a little bit, and I don't know if it's a case of was there things going on beyond the scenes that we were never kind of told about that may affected that side of things. But, you know, for me, cup games are always different from league games, and sometimes you find your niche in cup games, and I think that's what Moyes has done for the last 3 seasons.
Yeah,
you know, not being funny, when I used to manage teams, we had a niche, you know, 4 years consistently in cups, but also we did well in the leagues as well. But, you know, you find that you get that kind of season where it just one is kind of just a cut above the rest, and this is what's happening with Moyes.
Yeah, and to be fair, in the league, he kind of, in the games that were kind of, you know, where people would describe them as, oh, this is a cup final for such and such a team. In those games, he kind of managed to find results as well. You know, like Man United. Okay, that was that one I'm thinking of in particular was a very lucky goal from Ben Rama, and David De Gea should definitely have stopped that. Mate, he could have like gone on holiday and come back for that one. And you know, like, I've got to be fair, David Moyes has been fucking brilliant for West Ham United, and I am so happy to have experienced a lot of that in the stadium too, you know. But it is time for, you know, and new blood. That's
well, hang on. On that note, right? Because you said new blood. Now, I'm not being funny. You guys have been here before when it comes to getting rid of Moyes, ain't you? And just a quick plug, by the way. Please, if you haven't, can you please drop a like on Early Doors TV channel and the Green Street Elite channel, because they're both super channels. I need to get back on Tony's channel, actually. I haven't been on there in a little while. He invited me a couple of weeks ago, but like a toss spot, I just had me something, you know. So, but yeah, please, if you can, if you're one of my Chelsea lot, please drop a like and a subscribe on both of them. They're both top guys. They've always been very nice to me. But Budgie particularly, he's taken me under his wing and he's looked after me. So please, if you can, the links are in the chat.
Under the wing. I see what you did there.
Under the old chicken wing. Under the old chicken wing.
Or the Budgie wing.
Or the Budgie wing. There you go. I feel like Budgie tonight. There you go. HR, so are you saying Talk Sport were right with regarding West Ham's success? Talk Sport. Would either of you two care to answer that?
They're called Talk Shite.
Oh, there you go.
They are so biased.
Talk shit.
Yeah. They're so biased towards teams like Liverpool, Man City,
Arsenal.
Yeah. Oh, that hurt. Yeah, and you know, they're so biased towards those teams, you know, because most of the presenters have played for the teams. And I've got to be honest with you, I wouldn't be at all surprised if the reports on our game this week will be either about how good or how bad Chelsea were.
And what was
we will get a slight mention, but that'll be about it, because we're not one of the established elite teams, you know.
Well, not really. You are actually, because you guys have always been known as like a top 10 team, really. As over your history,
Well,
that's
but
kind of where you guys see yourself, like somewhere in between like 1 and 10, like
Yeah,
that.
but-
Cool.
Mate, we've been down more often than Linda Lusardi, right? So
Sorry.
don't be thinking. No, seriously, we are not by the media, like the likes of Sky Sports, BBC, ITV, them kind of people, the top, media groups.
The
We are
puppets.
not regarded. We are not regarded as a top team. We're regarded as the black sheep of London, and that is the fact. Even Millwall get better press than we do.
Oh,
And
don't
that's
you
a fact.
scumbags. You're
That's
talking
a
to
fact,
Chelsea.
mate,
No,
I'm
you're
telling you.
no, you're talking to a Chelsea fan. They're just utter scumbags. Millwall, I'm sorry. That's the one team I've got no time for. It's just like,
But what I'm saying is a fact. When we've had like West Ham and Millwall West Ham games,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
always about how bad the West Ham fans behave.
You know, we get away with it as well quite a lot. Crystal Palace, because at times they're awful, but somehow, somewhere, no, they're a solid Premier League team. It's like, have you seen some of them times they play?
You know what? I am firmly in the middle geographically. I live firmly in the middle of Selhurst Park and I was going to say the Goldstone, the Amex Stadium.
Chuck a couple of stones each direction.
I'm 24 miles from the Amex and 22 and a half miles from Palace. It's ridiculous. And
Jokers to the left of me, clowns
it's
to the
horrible.
right. Here I am. So,
Love that. Love that.
Anthony says, I spoke to Danny Dyer about Bowen. He's Arsenal's next player for next season. 120 million plus bonuses in my fucking tractor. Do you guys see truth in this?
No. And he knows that full well, Wolfie.
The only thing I see in that story is he's drinking too much fucking cider.
And driving that tractor too much from the sounds of it. He says, talk shit out. I mean, I added the shit, but talk C out. There you go. Big up my favorite Budige. Okay, who are you referring to? Because there's two of them.
Well, there's only one main Baldy.
Yeah. I'm a fake baldy. I shaved my head yesterday. Well,
all right.
Didn't shave it exactly. I just number one it all over.
Happy says, I think that's the only time I've seen Happy swear. She says millwank. green face. Okay.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, that's the one.
The Hammers are regarded as European champions. Well, they were because they actually were a European champion. That's
no. Hang on.
They won the World Cup.
They won the World Cup. And we're the only team south of Manchester that can say that.
What's that?
That we're European champions right now.
Oh, all right.
European champions.
Well, Man United, Man City ain't European champions anymore, and neither you, because you've both been put out of your respective competition. You can only be defending champions when you're in it.
No. We're still current champions.
All right.
Because no one's won it yet, have they?
Yeah, nobody else has won
true.
it.
Yeah, that's true. So, keep the gold shirts.
Champions of Europe, we know what we are. All right.
All right, and I can only come back. We know what we were. We know what we were. Now we're just crap. We know what we were.
Getting back to Sunday's game, though, to be fair, you asked Tony about what about Chelsea would we be kind of concerned?
Yeah, concerned about. Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah, in answer to that, there's like I said about West Ham, there's a handful of players that every team in the Premier League should worry about, and same goes with Chelsea. And for me, obviously, Cole Palmer is one of them. I don't think Jackson is Premier League ready at the moment. He's getting there, but he ain't there yet. But there's Cole Palmer. Obviously, Thiago Silva is just world class, not just Premiership class.
But he's just old. That's his problem.
I think Madueke is very good. I like him. And I also like that young boy that you've got in the right back position.
Gusto.
Yes.
Mm.
I like him too. He's very good. And, you know, in fairness, I've got to say, what's his face? Your blonde-haired
Gallagher.
Mudryk,
Gallagher.
Gallagher.
That's him. Yeah, sorry.
Not Budige. Jesus.
I've had a few to drink tonight, as you can probably imagine.
I'll be
Gallagher,
starting after this.
he
Don't worry.
likes to score against West Ham, so I would always be cautious about him. When he was on loan at Crystal Palace, my first ever game at the London Stadium was Palace at home for us, not Palace, and it was a 2-2 draw, and Gallagher got both goals. So from that moment on, I've always kind of worried about him playing at West Ham or against West Ham, and he's always done well. He's always been a bane for us, you know. Pain.
Well, the thing is, on Chelsea, I think, like I was going on what I was saying earlier, it depends what 11 we put out against you, because particularly over the last couple. You right there, Tone?
Yeah, I just nearly fell off my chair. Don't worry about that. I'm fine.
Yeah, I thought you like you're hitting the bottle already, mate. Like you're right. I actually thought you were gonna go there. I was like, shit, is he okay? Like,
I thought I was watching an episode from Austin Powers, if I'm honest.
he's gone. Look at him. But yeah, I think if we put out what's been our 11 more recently in terms of Gusto, Chalobah, Silva, Cucurella, I don't mind Cucurella because he can tactically do a job. He ain't that bad. Obviously, we're going to play the only three midfielders we've got in Enzo, Cancedo, and obviously Gallagher, the aforementioned. But I do think with Mudryk, Jackson, and maybe Palmer on the right, we have a better chance against you lot with any other mix of like the front. Because obviously right now, Palmer's been gold dust for us. And literally, he was a surprise because let's be honest, with how bad Chelsea are, you'd never expect anyone to be touching 20 goals from almost a midfielder as well. So that's because the one thing about
if you play Mudryk on the left hand side, Mavropanos will have him in his pocket. I'm telling you now.
Why is that?
Because Mavropanos loves that kind of player.
What, going one-on-one?
He loves to, yes. He'll eat him alive, mate. I'm telling you.
Well, it could be
Honestly,
Jackson. But it
honestly,
depends.
he will. You know, I'm not being funny or nothing, but he's so difficult to get past because he's big, he's strong. He doesn't never fall over. He never falls over.
He doesn't do it early doors. He doesn't slide off.
He's had a couple of injuries, but they've been heavy tackles or heavy challenges. He doesn't fall over. He's not one of these players that wants to look for a free kick.
He's having his own conversation.
He wants to get a kick without the camera seeing. That's what he wants. Mavropanos is old school, mate. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I do like him.
Mudryk will struggle against him. I promise you.
All right. So, who do you think, in your opinion, would be the best Chelsea player to go up against him then? And I'll ask both of you. Happy's just drooling, so I'm not going to ask Happy.
Probably Raheem Sterling, if I'm honest.
Well, strangely, I'll come on to him in a minute. What's your not pause? Tony, who do you think would be like on against Mathers? Who do you think would be the biggest threat? Probably get a no Jesus Happy. You never know.
Any time for do, Tony.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I'm letting him think because he's drunk. You see, he's just falling off his chair, so I'm giving him a minute.
I suppose if you look at it, you got the chance of, you know, if anything, if Cole Palmer's going to cut in, or even, you know, I wouldn't say. You could say Jackson's probably going to be the one, but
that's all right. He won't get it on target.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, because the thing is, Do you think like on Jackson? I know his finishing is his qualm, but he's got the same amount of goals as Kai Havertz. So, like you can see,
He's played twice as many games.
what as Kai Havertz? No, he hasn't. He
It
went African
feels
Cup
like
of Nations. Yeah, I know. Oh, trust me. Watching him, Budgie, it feels like season after season has rolled past. Trust me, with the chances he misses, like
Right. But listen, I never really liked Havertz at
Chelsea,
Arsenal.
Okay.
Arsenal. I never really liked him. I didn't think he was Premiership quality. I thought he was a very good Championship player at best. And then he came to Chelsea, and I thought to myself, well, I was right all along. But in the last sort of 3 months, I've been thinking to myself, actually, do you know what? There is a player there. There is definitely a player there. Unfortunately, what he hasn't got around him is the stability of a team that have been playing together for a while. And like you said, the starting 11 has been so fluent that there's been no stability in that. And when Havertz has played, he
big
hasn't
up,
had
Jez.
this-
Sorry,
Jez.
big up, Jez. How are you? Big
Hey,
up,
Jez.
Jez in the building.
He hasn't had, like, say, for example, player A and player B to rely on, with triangles and through balls and all that sort of stuff. He just doesn't know who's going to be playing behind him. And Kai Havertz is the kind of player that needs the stability.
Yeah,
know?
he is. He needs the proper team around him because he's not that strong. I don't mind Kai Havertz. He's a nice enough lad. At Chelsea, he did get a look at a stick. But the thing is, you see this. We mentioned Jackson a minute ago. The thing is that's frustrating about Kai Havertz is you give him 3 chances, he'll miss 2 of them. That's the problem with him. Like,
I think it's probably give him 5 and he'll miss 4. I've got to be honest with you.
Well, but players are like that. Players are that nowadays. Because do you remember back in the day where, like, say, for example, Antonio Havertz, the guys like Sheringham to you guys and Andro Flo to us. These guys would punish you. 1 chance, bang. Go.
Yep. Andy Carroll was another player that would punish you.
He would.
For West Ham.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, Andy Carroll was the last real striker West Ham had. For me, he was a true number 9. But don't get me wrong, Mikel Antonio has been bloody good for West Ham. He's had some really dull periods, but a lot of players do. He's finding form again now since his injury. And bear in mind, we're talking about a player that had an injury every 5 to 6 months. He would have an injury that would keep him out for a month or so. Now, we've just had 18 months of Mikel Antonio without injury.
And you've seen...
Because, his training regime and his eating regime has changed and therefore made him a healthier player. And with his training, made him a stronger and faster player. So we've had 18 months of Mikel Antonio without injury. He gets injured. We miss him like, a tree misses the sunshine. And then he comes back and we go, where the bloody hell has he been for a year? Even though he's been fit, he hasn't been Mickey,
Well, yeah, like you said, now that you've seen him fit, like you've seen the lack of quality there because he can play whatever amount of games. And let's be honest, even though he's been back for you guys, a couple of months, he's only really picked up recently.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't really...
I think it's about 5 weeks he's been fit, hasn't it, Tony?
Yeah, it's about that.
4 or 5 weeks. But, he's had, for the first time in, I think, nearly 2 years, he's had 3 in 3. 3 goals in 3 games. So, he's kind of found form that he had 2 years ago, when we were first in the Europa League. That's the kind of form he's in right now. I mean, that goal he scored against Liverpool the other day was absolute beauty. I love
Hang on.
he rose like a salmon.
Right, shaking his head like that. Jurgen Klopp says, my final season at Liverpool has been an utter disaster for sure. I am Jurgen Klopp, and without a doubt. Okay, well, thank you, Jurgen. Goodbye.
And thank you for giving your name to the new Fergie time. It's now called Kloppage time.
Yeah.
Kloppage time. But then again,
You can thank Happy Amaret for that because it was her that said it.
Kloppage, big up, happy Hammer. Because I tell you what, one thing I will say is, one thing I do like about Liverpool, they're the only team in the Premier League that whenever something goes wrong for them, they demand that the game be replayed. Everyone else is like, yeah, all right. They're like, no, we must replay the game. Like what? Okay.
No.
Well, see, the Klopp's not a fan of TNT Sports. Listening to his press talk today.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, he said he's not going to miss that one.
Hang on, Budgie.
He's saying that Sky Sports are miles better for than TNT Sports.
They're all crap. If you actually know anything, then you know TNT is shit, BT is shit, Sky Sports is shit. The only one really that used to be really good for me was BBC Radio 5 Live. Because they actually had real people on there, but that was like 10 years ago. You're right there, Budgie.
I hate the BBC.
you just did a swear word there, Wolfie. That's what it was.
God,
all right.
My ears are bleeding.
Was it? Oh, all right. So the aforementioned is why your ears are bleeding. Okay, I'm so sorry. All right, I won't say it again. They'll just be them.
James.
Yeah, but yeah, this is for you. Budgie, Andy Carroll got nothing but hate from the West Ham fans, which is too fucking weird about it, to be honest.
Well, maybe in the stadium, Happy
Emirates got that right.
We are fuckwits. That's true. But in the stadiums, maybe he did get a bit of stick on that. But yeah, before when Andy Carroll was playing for us, I wasn't actually actively going to games. It was during the period where I was not at games. And I know quite a few West Ham fans anyway, before I got involved with the YouTube community and all the groups that I'm in and Facebook, etc. There are a number of them in my hometown in Crawley. And I've got to be honest with you, I don't remember much criticism of Andy Carroll like that because I didn't experience it firsthand. I didn't really pay attention to the crowds when I was watching it on replays and stuff on that dreaded channel that we don't mention anymore. And like the only criticism he ever got that I ever really kind of paid attention to was the fact that he was a sick note. He got injured a lot.
Yeah.
That really and truly is the only criticism I ever paid attention to. If I'm honest, I personally thought that Andy Carroll, like Dean Ashton,
what a player that guy was, man! I felt so sorry for that dude.
Could have been one of the greatest forwards for the England squad.
Yeah, Dean Ashton had everything. He could head
Dean
off.
Ashton was and always will be a legend, not necessarily of West Ham for me, but he is a legend of the centre forward position because that guy had, as you said, Simon, he had everything you could put into that position.
Anthony, you need to stop messing around with your YouTube account. Oh dear.
Is it him?
It's probably him. He's probably finding all these profiles on his tractor. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna nick the keys to that.
Is it that carrot cruncher?
That combine harvesterman. Great channel. Please hit the like. Yeah, all right. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Full
Do
Fang.
that.
Full Wang. Sorry, yeah. That's a good play on my name. Thank you very much. I'll get you back for this, Anthony. You see if I don't. No, but on players like Dean Ashton, that's true. One thing I will say, I remember how good that guy was because he used to regularly score against Chelsea as well before he got injured. It's like way back in like when did it,
Even when he was at Norwich.
Yeah, when Norwich were in the Prem as well. Isn't that who you bought him from?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
We paid about 7 million when it's only.
Yeah, silly money at the time when you think about it.
Good player as well.
For the kind of player that he was, and if he hadn't have got that career-ending injury.
25, 26, and he was young as well.
He was young,
yeah. 26, I think.
Not an age.
If he hadn't have got that injury, what a player we would have had. And I've seen him talking to, I believe it was Ryan from West Ham Fan TV, and he said that he did not have in his mind at any point that he wanted to leave West Ham. He wanted to play there. Once he got here at West Ham, once he got there at West Ham, he said, my intention was to keep playing for West Ham. You know?
Well, he was one of those guys. He was like a Nolan. Noble, sorry.
Noble.
He was one of those guys.
Not quite like, because Noble came through the academy.
He was a good player, though, Nolan.
Oh, mate. Noble was a steady, sturdy player for West Ham. He was never the best player on the pitch. But he was never the worst either.
Mm-hmm.
And he always put in 150%, you know. And when he became captain, he required the same from every player that pulled the shirt on. You know, whether you're in the under-9s or in the first team squad. If you pull on the West Ham shirt, you give 100%.
Oh yeah,
minimum you want from him.
One thing I will say, London boys, if you went to West Ham, it was one of those ones because they were known from what I remember them growing, they were known for the developing London talent as well back in those days. That's why you got the Carricks and the Defoes and all them lot from.
And Essex as well.
Yeah, but also you've got to remember you've got the Frank Lampard seniors. You've got Harry Redknapp, probably one of the most controversial managers, but what a right winger he was, by the way. You know, you got the likes of Trevor Brooking, who was born not too far away from the stadium. I think it was within about 4 miles of the stadium. Billy Bonds, all of those players were all born in the East End of London or very close to, and they all ended up at West Ham and all became either club legends or cult heroes, if you want to prefer, because legend is a word that's thrown around a lot. And some players don't deserve it.
Very true. Very true.
There are some that do. I mean, like for me, if we're talking Chelsea, I think, legends, you would have to talk about people like, obviously, Frank Lampard Jr. He's the highest scoring midfielder the world's ever known.
Mm-hmm. So he was ridiculously good.
He has to be in that bracket. But then you've also got people like Peter Osgood going back to the 70s. You've also got people like Gianfranco Zola. You've also got people like Dave Sexton as a manager. I think he was the most iconic Chelsea manager. So like when you talk about legends, there are handfuls in every club.
Well, it means because the way you're putting it, it's the bona fide British ones as well. Like because we used to have Aussie.
Yeah, but Gianfranco Zola isn't.
Greavesy, we had Jimmy Greaves. Come on, if you know Jimmy Greaves,
what
a legend he was. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean.
And you got to remember, Chelsea, Tottenham, and West Ham all had him.
Yeah, we've had some great
three
players.
Three of the main clubs in London. 3 of.
And the thing is, actually, a good bargain we got from Ashley Cole, which happened to be the same ilk, but from the Arsenal side, was Ashley Cole.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, when we do London,
we got Colton Cole from you.
Another example. Not quite as good as the others.
another club cult hero. I mean, that
Oh,
guy
Glenn
is
Johnson. Don't forget about Glenn Johnson as
Glenn
well.
Johnson. Yeah. But then also you had Joe Cole,
Oh, he was a
Come
baller as well. He was a good player.
probably one of the best left winger midfielder players I've ever seen in my lifetime. One of, love Joe Cole. I mean,
Yeah,
especially at his Chelsea period, he was exceptional.
Well, Glenn Johnson was the first one to jump ship when you think about it. When we got relegated that year, I never forget because he was in the on the back of the.
He went to Portsmouth, didn't he?
No, he went to Chelsea, didn't he? He went to
Oh,
Chelsea.
he went
No, he
to
went-
Chelsea. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Because what made me laugh was he was on the back of, I think it was one of the Mirror or the Sun newspaper saying that we've got to rally together and make sure we can get back into it. Glenn, yeah, Chelsea's knocked on the door for you. They want to buy it for £6 million. He was gone quicker than lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's very rare that teams get relegated and they stay loyal. Very, very, very. Even if they're homegrown, it depends. Like with Joe Cole, the Carrick. Don't forget Michael Carrick, by the way, went Man United. Did all those things he did, because that was the weird thing about you guys. Really, it was one of those ones. If you'd kept all your players, the Rio Ferdinands as well. Name another one, Anton Ferdinand as well. It's what you had the England team in your squad. Basically, the England team was your squad. They were just all younger.
Just go back to 1966. Just goes to show you, doesn't it?
Enough said.
Just goes to show you. But in fairness, though, I mean, we also had a player called Jermaine Defoe.
I did say
he went to the White Devils of North London.
No, we're not going to talk about Spurs here. They're polished.
No, I didn't say that. I said the White Devils.
All right, the White Devils. All right, fair enough.
Of North London. And, to be fair, Jermaine Defoe was probably one of the most potent strikers in the league at the time.
He was
absolutely on fire. He went there and continued it. And I've got to be honest with you, I think probably 85-90% of West Ham fans probably vomited in their own mouth when it happened, because we knew how good he was. We just saw how good he was.
Well, the thing is, they were all homegrown players, weren't they? They were all your academy players.
No,
that was the thing that stuck.
But you remember Defoe wasn't, because Defoe come from Charlton.
He did.
That's the thing.
Oh, he wasn't your academy. I thought he was your academy.
No. We took him.
But
from
he was
Charlton
only 18 when he came.
When he came over to us, and the thing was, if it wasn't for Glenn Roeder, then Defoe would still be a West. He would still be a West Ham player. Defoe. It's just the fact that Defoe,
maybe for a year or two more, maybe.
No. He actually loved the club. I mean, one of my players, my ex-players, bumped into it. Well, we met him at the Faces nightclub, believe it or not. And because remember, Defoe kept getting himself sent off.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and he asked him, "What the hell's going on?" He goes, "I fucking hate the Roeder," and he goes, "This is my way of getting out of the club."
Well, can I ask you a question?
Wasn't it purposely doing it?
Wasn't it like, when you guys got relegated? Wasn't that the year that Glenn Roeder got ill? Because if you remember, he was managing you guys, and he got really sick. Remember, he got he was like really bad, and he disappeared for like a month or two, didn't he? So was that the year you guys got relegated? Was that this couple of seasons before?
No, I think that was the year of us achieving that milestone of relegation. I think that was
achieving the milestone.
It was.
Oh, come on, mate. We got to take every achievement we can get,
Or in that case, Budgie, you should know that between semi-finals and finals at Wembley, we've thrown 6 in a row. We're on the way to 7. We're on the way to 7. But look, I'm gonna quickly ask you, because obviously I can see Tony yawning. He's already been drunk enough to fall off his chair, so we'll round this off.
We got to remember, Wolfie. I did a show last night, and that I finished it at 1 o'clock this morning. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I tell you what. Well, I'll just get scores from the gents, and I did say I wouldn't keep them more than an hour or so, and I've got an hour and 10 minutes out of them. But it's just a privilege to have both of them on there, because I'm quite cool with both. So it's just been nice to get both of you on. And as soon as Budgie agreed, and I was on the way home from work, I thought, shit, why have I asked Tony? And I was lucky that Tony could make it. So it was a bit last minute, but I appreciate you, Tony, immensely, because obviously I only asked you about 45 minutes before start time, and he said, yeah, so total diamond down there. I will say this: when people do me a favor, or I see it as they've done me a favor, always the gratitude, man. Always the gratitude. So I'm gonna just quickly get scores, and I'll ask Tony first, and I'll ask Budgie, and I'll give like a little round off, and we'll finish, boys. So Tony.
Heart says obviously 2-1 to West Ham and that, but Head says it's going to be 2-2. As old DJ Crane saying, it's going to be a Desmond.
All right, 2-2. Budgie?
Well, that was going to be my answer.
It still can be.
I was well. Look, I think it's going to look like a 2-2 until the last 2 minutes of the 9 added on. You know,
the 9, yeah.
There's going to be quite a few minutes added on. I kind of see. In a derby, London derby.
Yeah, that's true.
You boys are going to want a little bit of, revenge for the early game in the season when we made you look absolutely amateur at the London Stadium.
Nothing's changed.
I think it's going to look like a Desmond right up until the last couple of 3 minutes of the game. And one of the teams, and I don't want to put my hand on either side of the, game. One of the teams will nick a 3-2 win. I'm hoping it's going to be us.
That's the problem with this game, isn't it? You both know at times either side is capable of a mistake, just like that.
Yeah, but the thing is, we're capable of really fast, accurate counter-attacking.
And
Chelsea
that's what hurts us.
are really good at the press.
We are good at pressing. But when you do get us in the counter, we're extremely vulnerable.
It's one of the other. Either you're going to press and get the third goal, or you're going to press, we're going to break and get the third goal. I'm undecided which way that's going to go, to be honest. But I think a 3-2.
Hope Bowen's bootlaces don't seriously damage the keeper again. Big up on you, Happy. Well done. James Bong says 3-0 to the Hammers. We're far too massive for the rent boys. No. We're not rent boys anymore. That was Abramovich's Chelsea. This is the nursery. Because we like to buy children, apparently.
And Budgie, I just realised you said it's going to be 9 minutes at a time. I just realised Cucurella might be playing, so you can easily say it's going to be 11, 12 minutes kind of amount of time that fella's on the deck.
Well, earlier on, he said that defence was the best form of attack, so I don't think we should trust what Budgie says.
Well, listen, when you've had David Moyes as your manager for nearly 4 years, you'll believe what you just said. Defence is the best form. Look, other than Manchester City, the highest number of unbeaten games in Europe is held by West Ham United. Okay? Other than Manchester City. And we held the title of being the top unbeaten team in Europe for about 10 days. And so we know what it is to defend. Oh, look, we scored a goal.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's the West Ham way at the moment. It's not really how I see the West Ham way. And there's probably 15 million different views on what the West Ham way is. But at the moment, that is it. And it's David Moyes' West Ham way. And that's what we can do. We can literally put 9 men on the goal line next to, the goalkeeper and still score. Because that's what we do. We break. Our counter-attacking, when it's on point, just ask Brighton. Just ask your team earlier this season. When it's on point, it's on point.
Yeah, that's like with us. When we're good, we're good. When we're bad, we're bad. Happy says, yeah, but let's be fair. Look at our European run of competition. Dog and Duck FC. I'm really starting to become fond of Happy. I love her metaphors. Like you should change your name to Miserable though.
No. You know something. She's probably my best friend in the world. I've got to be honest.
Aww.
Yeah.
Well,
I've known her for now nearly 5 or 6 years, and she's probably one of my best friends in the world, and one of the funniest people in the world. And honestly, the girl can actually make a miserable fucker laugh. Really, honestly, she is funny. She's quality, quick on the
take
mark.
your one out.
So thanks for saying that, Budge. You know, I know I'm miserable. I'll get sometimes, but yeah, thanks for saying it, mate. Appreciate it.
I was never this miserable. It's Moisey. No, I'm only joking. I'm only joking, Happy. I'm only joking. It's just the way the conversation's gone on, mate. I'm just pulling you. These two will tell you I'm a bit of a wind-up merchant myself. I'm basically a London lad, just like them. So we all have banter. We have banter.
Listen, Happy, he lives in fucking Wanstead, or
Behave.
live right near Wanstead Flats.
What? Happy lives near Wanstead Flats?
No, you.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, like I was like
Yeah.
rent. It's just there, literally.
That's what I'm saying. Wanstead Flats over his right shoulder.
We was neighbours many years ago. Then Wolfie, bloody hell.
What? And where did you live?
East Ham. That's where I'm born and bred.
Oh right. Oh yeah, we were then. Literally, literally, if you literally just go around the corner up there, take 5-minute drive up to the you used to be at Upton Park. You're 56. 58 bus is right there.
Oh, bloody hell, yeah, 58, yeah.
Wolfie stumbled down the ditch my uncle dug.
Oh, did he?
Around Wanstead Flats. And come on, you've stumbled down there, haven't you?
Dude, I've fallen over many parts of that place. I've fallen over many parts. The worst one was when I had my dog, because you remember the little pond that used to be down there.
Yeah.
My dog used to be the worst because Leo used to run in it, and he used to do that dog shit, like. But then he used to think I was his towel because he would always jump on me after. It's like, get off, you little fucker. I miss my Rotty though. Big, no, I miss you, Leo. You're dead for God knows how long.
Do you know when they first did that, Budgie, and amount of cars that ended up in that ditch when they first started digging them out?
Yeah, I know, because they all wanted to drive onto the grass and go and give their girlfriend one.
Wait, I was just about to say that. You should see now, right?
Hey,
They put the little metal gates in the little car parks in there. Don't go past there about midnight.
me and my cousin, we used to go out on the tractor at about fucking 11:30 at night. My uncle used to say to me,
"Oh my God!"
My cousin was 9 at the time, driving the tractor, and we used to go right up behind the cars and put the headlights on, and they'd start the car up and drive off again. They didn't know who was on the tractor. It was me and my cousin. He was 9, I was 11. You know what I mean? It was great. And
you know what? It's mad because I actually messed
my
around.
uncle dug that ditch by hand, mate. I'm telling you, Dad helped him at the top. Over about 6 weeks, I think it took him to dig that ditch right round there, something like that. And it was great. It was brilliant.
The Messiah will always shine on Wester.
He used to have to go out there with his tractor and pull people out back onto the road.
Yeah, they did. They did. Even down here, they still do
that. Used to charge them and all. He'd say to them, I ain't doing it for nothing, mate. Charge them like a quid or two.
The only thing I will say about the old flats over the last couple of years, because it's been the summers have been getting drier and drier, you can often see it go up at summertime.
Oh, yeah, been to a few there, haven't there? I remember them.
Yeah. They're getting worse, Tony, because some of them are deliberate.
Cool.
So, and like last year, I don't know if you guys remember it, but do you guys remember near Hollow Ponds as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you remember you had the two little restaurant things, like little huts that used to be in front of it, and you have all the boats at the back. You should have seen on the right hand. You should have seen had the right hand side of it, literally it wasn't huge, but it was like a quarter of a square mile, just black. All of it got burnt to shit, and it was deliberate. So sooner or later they're gonna have a fire over there where they're not gonna be. Yeah, nowadays these kids, mate, I'm telling you, they're nuts. They are absolutely nuts.
You know what? There was one time they had a fun fair on Wanstead Flats. Yeah,
still goes there.
Does it? Well, there was this one particular year they had
the circus
fun fair, right? And my uncle at the time was the groundsman for this particular section, over Capel roadside.
Mm-hmm.
He was the groundsman for that side of it, and that was the side that they had the bloody fun fair on. Anyway, so after the funfair had packed up and gone away, obviously my uncle had to get all the pitches ready. He had to go and mow the lawn, the grass, and all that with the tractor.
Put the posts up if they weren't up yet.
Yeah, and pick up all the rubbish and this and that.
Dodge around
Anyway,
the
so
cows.
my uncle complained to
The cows that used to come home and you come by them down there and everyone's
that's
covered
it.
in cow
Cows
shit.
on
It was
there,
fucking hilarious.
My
I love
uncle
these
used to
guys. They
pick
know.
up the
Oh,
old
it's so
shovel
brilliant.
and that. Yeah, brilliant. But he went back to his boss at the council, because obviously he was working for the council, and he went back to his boss at the council. He said, "If you ever have that fair again, you're going to have to get other people to come and clear up the rubbish, because I'm not doing that again."
Yeah, it's madness.
It took him about 4 days to clear up just the rubbish, right? So he said to them, if you ever, so then that's when they decided to move it over to the other side of the flats, which is where they still have it, I believe.
Yeah, it is, and they got the little pond, and guess what? They trashed that as well.
But they had a big team of volunteers that were prepared to clear up all the rubbish afterwards.
You wouldn't want to volunteer to clean up
you can get that over Cable Roadside, mate.
Well, trust me, you'd be picking up fag tips, condoms, probably a couple of needles. Yeah, it's far different now to what it was. How long ago did you live in East Ham, Tony?
Oh, I lived there until moved out in 2007.
Completely different. It's completely different. They've tried to redevelop it and put all the sort of they've ruined this area. Still there? Yep, right there behind me.
Yeah, the Twin Towers.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Oh, I killed my camera.
It weren't them ones that got flown into by an aircraft then.
Oh my! I can't really.
I don't mean that. Anyone that lives in them buildings, please do not have a go at me, because I'm just joking.
I used to live in them, so it's fine.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I used to live in the one on the left, so you're absolutely fine. No one took it personally. But boys, I'm going to round it off here. I've had so much of your time, and I appreciate both of you massively. Again, if you haven't and you're one of my lot, please subscribe to obviously the Green Street Elite and Early Doors TV. I'm going to be with again Budige tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. As far as I know, we're still good, aren't we, Budige, tomorrow night?
Yeah, so, we'll do that 6 o'clock tomorrow, but that's on the Bowling Lounge, not on my channel.
All right. Hang on. Well, in that case, then, do you want to big up both channels then? When I'll put in the link for it, and obviously you can catch us there tomorrow. So go on. Do you want to big up? How many channels do you represent, Budige? It's hard to keep up.
Listen, if it's claret and blue and it's in the East End of London, I'll represent it.
All right. Well, I've done the Green Street a lot,
but I do mainly right. Okay, so I have my own channel called Green Street Elite, as Simon kindly has already alluded to. You can find me on YouTube. I talk to other fans of other teams. I talk to West Ham fans. I try not to do too much post-match and pre-match stuff on my channel. Other people do it far better than I do. So I do that. And on a Wednesday night, I'm on West Ham Network. I do Old School Hammers with my pal Kieran.
Big up Kieran, lovely dude.
Yeah, who now lives in Brisbane,
Australia.
Yeah, Bert and Ernie, we're known as at times as well. And I do a bit of work on the Bowling Lounge. Thank you for that, Wolfie, Simon. I work with my mate Jeff, or Rani Bubble, as most know him. Yeah, he or even Ralph, as Happy's called him now. I do a bit with him. He, needed a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of help to start his channel. He's not been going that long. So if you could give him a subscribe, I would really appreciate it. 2 more
weeks.
And he's a funny guy. We have a bit of fun, but we also talk about all kinds of aspects of football. A lot of it is West Ham United, but there you go.
Of course.
Yeah, catch on any of them. And also, hopefully, finally, I'll be back here.
Dude, you want to come back? I've always had a policy of you just guys want to come back, you're just more than welcome. I'm one of those guys where I'm very easygoing, and if I'm streaming and you want to hop on, just be my guest. because I'm very rare that I try and plan things out with other people, because 9 times out of 10 they don't make it. so one thing about it, I've just kind of like over the last more the last month or so, just been doing my Blues Brothers stream and then just winging everything else. If people turn up during like my last watch along, I think over the weekend, I ended up with Steve on with the Chelsea game because he thought I was being lonely. It was just I just didn't plan it. I just went on. I didn't ask anybody about it. It was just watch the team, see whatever, and he jumped on, and it was a great stream. Just like pretty much with Tony today, bless him. I've kind of ambushed him, but it's all good. Tony, would you like to pick up your channel, sir? Link is in the description and the chat.
No, thank you. It's Early Doors Football TV. You can find me obviously on the usual show on Wednesdays, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with Anthony and Hot Fuzz.
The Fuzzmeister.
The Fuzzmeister, or the Chucky Fuzzmaster, or Cold Bum Fluff 22, as he called himself. And obviously on Sundays is the Sunday Night Takeaway show. Obviously, as always, everyone's invited onto that one, but as much as they can get on there. And yesterday I did have the second one of Spotlight with Uncle Rod's.
That was very good.
Yeah, that was a good one on that. And James from E20 Zone TV, he jumped on near the end, and we had a good old ramble and everything, and said all nice kind words about David Sullivan. So it was all good in that regard.
He must have been drunk.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. On that note, referring to Uncle Rod's, he's actually a decent mate of mine as well. Big up to Anfield Rods. He's a very nice dude. Like, lot of time for him. He's been on my channel quite a few times. So there's Anfield Rods' link as well. If you want a decent if you want a good Liverpool fan supporter who isn't jumped up on hype a lot, that's this guy. So
he's a true, proper.
He's
Londoner.
an old school fan. Yeah, he's a
Londoner as well, but he's a Londoner as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and he sometimes does some of the games as well. I believe he goes to some of them. So
of course he does. He's a proper fan, but he's a Londoner as well, which makes him he's not a Mickey Mouser. You know what I mean?
He's proper solid.
Yeah, you could bump into him in the street and he won't take the wheels off your car.
Basically, he's not Scouse. Basically, but
not a Mickey.
Not a Mickey. Hey, to you guys, tomorrow we don't play till Sunday. Yes, I think it's another preview. Happy. That's
it's a little preview thing that Ralph wants to do. Happy.
Well, I'll tell you what. Hey, you boys up for a watch along if you can do it on Sunday?
Actually, do you know what? I don't think I'm going to be available, but I'm not 100%. Send me the link, and if I can, I'll get on.
All right, then. There's an invitation as well. Tony, are you up for that?
Unfortunately, I'm doing most things during the daytime and a little bit in the afternoon. So if I can get myself out of that, not saying I can guarantee that, then yeah, definitely. I mean, as always, mate, send the link over. If I'm available, I'll jump on, definitely.
Watch this space on the Wolfgang channel. But yeah, I will be back, obviously, on my channel with the watch along, obviously, over the weekend. And I might be with Tony for the Arsenal game on, I think, when did Arsenal play? Tomorrow or Sunday? I'm not sure. I need to check it, bro. Because they got Fulham, didn't they? No, was it Fulham? No, they got Bournemouth. They got Bournemouth at home. That's it. They got Bournemouth at home. So I might big up to Tony Claw TV as well. A little shout out for him as well. But I'm going to let these chaps go. It's been an absolute pleasure. Happy. I'm almost brokenhearted that you're not going to be in my chat anymore. Thank you so much. You've been so spirited. You've been so bubbly. DJ Crane as well. Big up to you. James Bong, you have made me laugh my pants off. I don't know how many times Anthony's come in facades and different aliases, but we'll just say thank you in your tractor for being down here today. Thank you very much. And thank you, Happy, as well. Much obliged. DJ Crane, Rosie, everybody's just been flying in and out. All the different fake. I can't believe how many different fake YouTube accounts Anthony's been in my chat with today. It's hard to keep track. And Early Doors and Tony, you have to put up with this guy every week, right?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's all good, mate. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's a good. The three of us bounce off each other, which is, it's good. Just like you, JPT, do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, Budgie with Kieran. I mean, that's them two.
Yeah, they're funny. Them two. They are funny. James Bond, you've been awesome as well, brother. All you West Ham lot have been absolutely fabulous. That's one thing I will say. Like, when I like calm streams with a bit of a laugh, and that's exactly what this has been. Budgie was a treat. Having Tony here was a treat as well. Having you guys has been a treat. Thank you so much just myself personally. But I am going to round it off there. Thank you again, gentlemen, for your time.
You're
And
welcome.
we are